everyone, welcome to Grandma Gina's Kitchen. Today we are going to make a Mediterranean pasta salad. So it sounds amazing. I've had it before and it was so delicious, so I'm like, I definitely have to do that again, but I wanted to be able to show you guys. So, okay, so I have some water boiling here in my 3-quart with the basket. So you can see I have the basket on here. So, and I have my water, I just got my water boiling right now. And I am going to boil the noodles separate. So if you want the longer noodles, if you want to use the longer noodles, I have some thin spaghetti. Right? If you want to use the longer noodles, you're going to have to go ahead and boil them in water. Otherwise, break them in half or get a lot of moisture on them. Otherwise, they'll stick together because they're pretty long. Anyways, I break them in half anyways, just because I don't want the mess of eating really long noodles. There we go. We're going to put those in there. Let me grab a spoon here. Hi. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. The water's boiling. We're going to let that boil until those noodles are done. They're organic noodles, so they take a little bit longer. This recipe does call for a little bit of olive oil, so I'm stealing some of the olive oil to put in here so the noodles don't stick together. I usually don't do that, but since it's a pasta salad, I really want to make sure that my noodles aren't stuck together. Usually if I'm doing the spaghetti or something else, I'll put whatever, like if I have spaghetti sauce, once I stir the spaghetti sauce, then I'll just stick the spoon in the water that I'm going to cook the noodles in, and then it's enough to keep them from sticking. But anyway, so I used a little bit of olive oil today, and the recipe calls for Greek olive oil. I remember finding it before. I can't remember what store I found it at, but when I was reading it, it said, oh, the only difference was it had a little bit more sodium and it had minced garlic in it. So I'm like, I could do that. And plus, I don't really cook with olive oil. I actually use the avocado oil. So you want to make sure you're getting like a non-GMO avocado oil or organic. And then what I did is the garlic that I minced the other day, for those of you that saw my chicken dish, I just put some of it in here and let it sit. And it's got a great flavor. All right, so our noodles are boiling pretty well. It's going to give them a stir just to make sure they're not sticking together. Here we go. All right, they're good. Yeah, and then I don't need it on so high. I'm going to turn it down a little bit so I don't have to worry about it boiling over or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that cover on. So the noodles probably have about 10 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer, start 10 minutes. And then I'm going to start preheating my pan. So the key thing when you are going to cook with oil is you want to preheat the pan, not preheat the oil, right? So once the pan is hot, once you pour that oil in there, it's going to get hot rapidly. So you don't want to be heating up oil because then that's when it transitions into a trans fat. Trans fats is what hardens our arteries, so you want to avoid that. So I have some minced garlic. I have my homemade Greek olive oil. And then I have some crumbled feta cheese. And then we're going to use our goodies here. We have some basil and olives that I just sliced up. And then I have some fresh parsley, some grape tomatoes that I cut in half, and then some chives that I cut up. So that's going to be a majority of our stuff. And then it says the zest of 1 lemon, which I did on the food processor, and look how perfect that came out. That was 1 lemon. I got a ton of zest out of it, right? So which is nice. Okay, so there we go. So our pan's preheating. We're testing the pan to make sure it's nice and hot. It's not quite hot yet. So I'm going to turn it up just a little so I can go faster. But we have all of our ingredients together. It was super easy to zest the lemon. I just used the #1 cone on the food processor. And you want to just mostly get the yellow. You don't want to get the white because the white's bitter. So you want to be able to get the yellow part, which is the really lemony part. If you get the white part, a little bit bitter. All right, so I have everything ready. Let's see if our pan's hot. We'll be ready to go. Yep, there we go. It's nice and hot. Put it back to a medium. I'm going to put my Greek olive oil that I made in. There we go. But you can hear it. Look at that already. I mean, I just poured that oil in and it's already heating up to where the garlic's starting to sizzle. Okay? That's fast. Anyways, and then it says a pinch of salt and pepper. So I have a little bit of sea salt here. We'll add that in. About 1/4 teaspoon. And we're going to do some pepper. about a quarter of a teaspoon. So you kind of want to learn, like with my seasoning containers, I learned like 10 shakes is a quarter of a teaspoon. 20 shakes is a half a teaspoon. So I just kind of learned from that. I just like shook it in my hand, put it in a little measure, and went from there, and that's how I learned, and that's how I'm able to eyeball things pretty well. So there we go. We're getting that going. Our pasta's going great over here. I'm not going to cover it all the way because I want it to not to boil over. Okay, so now it says to add the parsley, and there's a little bit of water in my container, so hot oil and water, you know what happens? Starts splashing, right? I should have paid more attention. I didn't realize they were still so wet. All right, there we go. And the tomatoes have a ton of moisture anyways. All right, so it says just to cook these for just a little bit. So this is definitely Mediterranean cooking where they use a lot of oil, and the oil is actually your sauce. Your oil is actually your flavor. So anyway, so if you want to use olive oil, you can, but olive oil has a very low flash point. It transitions at about 200 degrees. So avoiding it is a really good idea for cooking. Now, if you're going to use it for in its natural state, which is room temperature or salad dressings, then it's a little bit easier on the body. It's not good for the body, but it's a little bit easier. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and I did avocado oil because avocado oil can tolerate 500 degrees or more, and it doesn't transition into a trans fat, which is good, right? And then we don't have to worry that it's gonna harden our arteries, and still be able to have a nice, delicious pasta dish. All right, let's stir up our noodles one last time. Oh, they're almost done. Yeah, perfect. All right. So I know everyone always says just throw them against the wall. If they stick, they're done. I guess if you say stick, they're done, or if they fold, they're done. I don't even know. See, I need my son here for that kind of stuff. Anyways, I usually just try to take one out and see if it's al dente or if it's done. All right, and then we have all of our ingredients here that we're gonna mix in, and this just mixes straight into a bowl. Which I didn't grab a bowl, but I'm just gonna use this glass dish right here. Okay. So it does call for, I was supposed to put a little bit of garlic. Oh, I did put garlic. Well, it was in the olive oil, or in the oil, in the avocado oil, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more anyways. So there we go. This is about done here. So super simple, easy dish, right? Look at that. Doesn't it look beautiful? And then we have and you can serve this one warm or cold, which is nice. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add our lemon zest in here. We're gonna add I chopped up the basil. It says to tear it. I kind of chopped it, but I know you're supposed to tear it. Anyways, some olives, not a whole lot of olives. We're not real big. My son loves olives, but we're not real big on olives. And then you have optional feta cheese, which we'll probably sprinkle over the top. Let's see. Ooh, this garlic is browning up nicely, as you can see there, right? And the tomatoes are just getting to where they would burst if I hadn't cut them in half, and that's exactly how you want them. All right, everything's gonna have a nice, delicious flavor. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna kind of put that at a little bit lower temperature now because it's done, and I'm just kind of waiting for my noodles here. So let me grab a noodle, see if I could grab a noodle and see if it's al dente or not. Okay, so let's see. Trying to catch one's the fun part. I better use a fork. Let me grab a fork. See if we could grab one of these. Woohoo! Super hot. Okay, there's one. All right. They're still a little al dente, so I'm gonna let those go a little bit longer. Anyways, yeah, the organic noodles take a little bit longer to cook. I guess they don't have as much chemicals in it. So if you're buying the organic noodles, plan an extra probably 4 to 5 minutes of cook time. And then this is all ready, right? Doesn't that look delicious? The garlic is brown. The tomatoes are about to burst. We have our lemon, our basil, and our olives in here. I need to make sure that it didn't say to put the lemon in the pan. It kind of seems to me like you would want to put the lemon in the pan because it's gonna you want it to cook a little bit, but no, it doesn't. It says add it at the end, add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so here we are. We have this ready. And I'm just waiting for my noodles to finish up. And then we're gonna mix it all together, and then I'm gonna pour this over the top, and then it'll be ready. Super simple, easy dish. It takes me more time to talk than anything. We're right at 10 minutes, but that's because the noodles are taking so long to cook, but it's worth it to get the organic, right? So I did it in the basket so that it would be easy for me to drain them, or not have to worry about draining them. Because I know for me, I'm short, and so when I'm trying to drain the noodles, hot water in my face is not always a fun thing. So what I do is I just use my basket, and that way, look, I'm drained. Right? So there's a little bit of water in there because the basket was sitting kind of low, and you need to get the noodles in the water for them to cook well. But look at that. That's already drained for me. Super simple. And then when I'm ready, I'll deal with that hot water and not have to worry about dealing with boiling hot water right now. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna add this right in here. We got some noodles that went through a little bit. That's the thing about the thin noodles. They might get through your basket a little bit here. Let me get these out. I have to be aggressive and get them out of there, right? All right. So there's still a few stuck in there. That's okay. I'll get them out. Once it cools down a little bit, it'll be easier to handle, right? So there we go. So I'm gonna set this like this because look at all these noodles. And they're perfect. All right, so we mix that all up. This is done. There we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and let me grab my handle back. Oh, I have another handle. I keep using the same one. It's a habit. All right, and then we're just gonna get this beautiful, what's gonna basically be our sauce to cover our noodles, right? We're just gonna pour that right over. Make sure you get all those browned garlic pieces out. There we go. And just toss it in the noodles. And then you have this beautiful, amazing dish. Get all your ingredients from the bottom, your basil, your olives, your lemon, all of that. One thing I love about some of these recipes is when you make sure that you have at least 5 healthy ingredients. So we had, there goes our timer for our noodles. Okay, so tomatoes, olives, garlic, parsley, basil, lemon. So that's 6 right there. Right, and you could do this with the zoodles. If you wanted to do it with the zoodles, and the zoodles, they wouldn't take very long to cook. You might even be able just to throw them right in the pan with the olive oil and stuff and cook it for like 2 or 3 minutes, and the zoodles would be done. So, and we showed you how to do the zoodles on the food processor. You want to make sure that you use the number 2 cone so you get those nice thin zoodles. All right, and if you didn't see that video, you got to go back and watch that. I did zoodles and noodles. So zoodles is zucchini, and noodles is yellow squash. I don't know, I just made it up. It sounded fun. Anyway, so look at this dish. Wow, amazing. 10 minutes, it's done. If you like the feta cheese, if you want it vegan, it's good. If you want a little bit of feta cheese, then you can just go ahead and put some feta cheese over the top and have an amazing dish. There we go. Look at that. All right. So we got our healthy stuff and we have our other stuff. And it's going to be perfect. It's going to be delicious. We've had this before, and I'm telling you, Miss Gloria made it. Gloria Johnson at her cooking club, she made it. It was so good. Like, people were craving it for days. And I even have people that make it for their husband for their lunch every week. So anyway, so make sure that you enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, share, like. Hit me up if you have any requests for special recipes. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Welcome to Grandma Gina's Kitchen. I'll see you soon. Enjoy.